All right. What is up? My name is Crystal. This is a completely new YouTube channel for me. So bear with me if you will. It is called Deeply Misunderstood. And the reason why this channel came about is because I am often deeply misunderstood. Not that I want to be, not that I'm trying to be. I absolutely am not. But people seem to do that. Now, this is not just about me for this channel. There are some ideas and some thoughts that are often deeply misunderstood in my perspective. And this is just what I understand. This is what I don't understand. And these are just things that I see in the world. So more often than not, I will always have my Bible and a notebook nearby because I am a believer. Okay. I love the Lord very much so. And I actually wanted to start this channel because I felt convicted. So a couple of days ago, I just happened to be scrolling on Instagram for some reason. And I stumbled upon a video of this group that I followed, this woman that I follow. She started a kind of a movement now about people being abstinent and waiting for marriage to have sex. So one of the videos, I guess, was from their recent event. And it was a guy, and he was talking about how he could no longer say that he had abstained for X amount of years because he was still self-pleasuring. And I got extremely convicted by that because that's something that I had been dealing with for the majority of my life. So when I was younger, I stumbled upon pornography. And for whatever reason, it grabbed me more than it grabbed the other people who were watching it with me. Now, in those days, you couldn't see it clearly. Like, you had to pay for the channel in order to watch it clearly. You could just see kind of like snowy picture. It's hard to explain for those who don't know, but if you know, you know. So it was a snowy picture, and I couldn't really see or make out what was going on, but it grabbed me. And I was really young. I had to be 7, 8, somewhere in there. And that really, shifted how I saw things. Now, fast forward to years later, I became a mother and then a single mother. And so I stopped having intercourse when my son was a year old. He's 14 now. So I was very, I guess, proud of the fact that I could say that I abstained for 13 years. Now, it was a whole struggle. I can't even hold you up. The first 2, 3 years, my body was going through it. Like, my mind was going through it. I was fiending for it because, again, I had been introduced to pornography at a very early age. And so I started self-pleasuring probably in middle school. And then it went on through high school. And then especially through college. And even after college, like after I was in relationships and stuff like that. So even while I was, quote unquote, abstaining from sexual intercourse, I was still, occasionally self-pleasuring. Now, at some point, I came to the understanding that even that was wrong. And I know there are some people who say that it doesn't count because there's no penetration, but like I'll get into that in a little bit. So again, the first couple years of not being intimate with anybody was very hard. And then I kind of got over, sorry, my keys are there. I kind of got over the hump, right? And so then the conversation changed. Instead of, Lord, help me, like get past this. It was, Lord, like, when is it going to happen again? And so, long story short, anytime there was a conversation, especially as I kind of dabble in putting myself out there in the dating space, I was like very proud of saying that I had abstained for umpteenth years. But when I saw this video, it really got under my skin, so much so that it was a thought that I couldn't shake. And I knew that I had to make a video concerning this, or at least share, along these lines, because anytime I fell into self-pleasuring, I have an accountability partner. I didn't tell them. Like this last time, I didn't tell them. And so I'm guessing because I didn't tell them, this has been pressed upon me to like publicly say what's going on. Now, women go through this too. I don't know what to tell you. Women, I went through it. I was addicted to pornography. I was addicted to masturbation. And like I said, especially this is outside of me being in relationships. Now, I said earlier that a lot of people say that self-pleasuring doesn't count because it's not penetration or anything like that. You don't have to use toys. I wasn't doing that. This is a very uncomfortable conversation, by the way. But you don't have to use toys. That's the one thing. So no, there's no penetration with that. Okay, women are different. But here's the thing. And this is what I had to write down today. I said, if it's birthed in your imagination, then there's already been penetration. And what I mean by that is there's a progression in how things work. So everything starts with a thought. Now, if you're a Christian, you understand that the Bible tells us to take our thoughts captive. The Bible tells us what things to think on in Philippians. And like a thought matters. The Bible tells us in Romans 12:2, I want to say, to renew your mind daily. That's a whole process. But the thought comes, again, I have notes, so if that's bothersome for you, then okay. It starts with a thought, and then you meditate on that thought. And then the meditation of that thought kind of feeds your imagination. When your imagination is fed, it impacts your belief. And then your beliefs impact your desire. Your desire like moves into your intentions, and then your intention leads to action, and then your actions is what builds your habit and your character. And it started with a thought. Now, I gotta get my thoughts together with that. You don't need penetration. If it is birthed in your imagination, if you are consumed by that, then you've already been penetrated by a thought. And it's not even that you've been penetrated by a thought, because thoughts come, and we have to understand that. Like, nobody's perfect. Thoughts are going to come. It's just what we do with that thought. Like, this is where the meditation part comes in. When we entertain the thought, when we sit with it too long, that's when stuff happens, and then it impacts our imagination. The thing about my situation and plenty of other people's situations is that you don't need a thought when you see it with your eyes. So we weren't being looked after properly. I can say that it's the past at this point. It's just part of the story now. But we weren't looked after like we could have been or should have been. And so that led to us stumbling upon pornography. Now, it was 3 of us who did that, who kind of didn't know what we were watching, but stumbled upon it. But for whatever reason, it captivated me. And I understand some other things about that. Like, I was always the one desiring to have a family. I was the one desiring to really have a relationship with God, to really sit underneath the wisdom of a father, like to really glean from that. I've always had images in my mind about that, or visions and dreams about that. And so I know now that I am a person who has a high propensity and capacity for intimacy outside of, bedroom activities. But I believe that's what God desires for us all in general. So that's a whole nother video in and of itself. But when you have something before your eyes, you don't need your thoughts. And when you see it, now your imagination can capture that and replay it, and then even take it further. So the Bible tells us, I think it's in Genesis, where, they were building the Tower of Babel, and God said, it's nothing. Like, when they come together, there's nothing that they can't do. Like, their imagination is just like, wow. Yeah, I'm probably not going to go to that right now. But, here it is. Yeah, the people are united as people. There's nothing impossible to them. So, when your imagination gets a hold of something, you can spin that however many ways you want to spin it. And you can come up with some really creative things. And so for me, I've had those images in my mind all the time. Even when I went through some level of deliverance, I already know that is something that I need to continue, like, in the deliverance process for. I know that I'm not fully delivered from that. And I can feel it, like I sense it. It's not weird. I'm just saying I can sense that. But again, over the years, between probably 7 years ago up until now, I gained a deeper understanding about just intimacy and God's design for it and God's desire for it. And then I understand how self-pleasuring can take away from that intimacy. And as I was like, this all came from this video that I watched a couple days ago, and I'm like, Lord help. But as I sat with the thought and I reconciled in my mind that I had to talk about this, and that I had to, like, really come to terms with the fact that I am essentially starting all over with my abstinence walk. I can't say that I've abstained for 13 years. And as much as I did not want to let that go, I knew I had to. Like, that's just being honest for me. And that's not something that I'm ashamed of at this point, because I know that I'm forgiven. But it just really puts things in perspective, because I wrote this down as I was thinking about this. And I was saying, like, how could I tell my husband that, where is it at? This is what I wrote. Okay. I promise this is what it is. I said, if I told the truth, it would sound like this. I cheated on you with the idea that you weren't worth the wait. Like, this is something that I would tell my husband. I allowed my imagination to be hijacked by images I spent years looking at. I was convinced that frustration was best quenched by taking matters into my own hands, or taking myself into my own hands. And it's not that I've watched pornography. I haven't watched it in years. It's not that I've had sex. I still haven't had sex. But Like for me, I was looking for comfort. I didn't realize how I had tied certain things into the act of self pleasuring. I didn't realize that I had tied frustration into that. So anytime I get overwhelmed, or really frustrated, and I understand what was happening at the time. Like my car was acting up, and I had to pay a lot of money to get that fixed. My son was graduating, and I had to take the brunt of the financial responsibilities for that. So for me, it felt like a lot of weight, and I wasn't expressing that to people like I should. And so because I kind of marinated on that too long, I thought about it too long. I entertained the thought too long, and it led me to self pleasuring, and I cried because I hate doing that. Because again, I'm thinking about having to explain to my husband, like, yeah, I didn't believe that you could take care of me. And even above that, I have to explain, not even explain to God, because God knows, but I have to reconcile that I didn't allow God to be my comforter. And that bothers me more than anything, because I've been single for so long. So it's not an issue for me to, I don't have anybody yet. But as I've been developing my relationship with the Lord, it's like I did not allow you to be my comforter. And that I don't want to start tearing up right now, but that's what it was. I did not allow him to be my comforter. And the level of intimacy that he desires, and I know that I desire, I didn't allow the space for it. And that's something that bothers me. Like, I literally feel like, how all through the Old Testament, God calls the children of Israel adulterers and prostitutes and things like that. And I'm like, man, did I really just did that? And y'all don't know how grateful I am to be on this side of the cross and not the other side of the cross. I'm grateful for grace. I'm grateful for his mercy. I'm grateful for the blood of Jesus. I'm grateful for the name of Jesus. I'm grateful that I can go to God myself. Okay. I am so grateful for that. But the thing is, sometimes we don't realize the way we act out in certain ways, it's not about that thing. It's something much deeper than that. For me, I have been, quote unquote, on my own, handling things on my own. And this is a season where I'm learning not to lean on myself so much. I'm learning to trust in the Lord a lot more. I'm learning to not worry and to literally cast my cares on him. Like, there's been so many times where when I did that and I had the peace, God showed up. But he's not going to show up in the chaos per se. Like, if I'm worried, that means I'm not walking in faith. So I've literally had to calm myself down and just like, okay, Lord, you got that. I'm just going to take care of what I can take care of. And I know that you're going to take care of what I can't. So this is a season of me literally trusting God. And this page is about me learning how to be vulnerable. And not even vulnerable, but transparent. That's a better word, because I don't like it like that. Like, trust me, I understand the benefit of it. I understand how healing it is. But I don't always like to do it. For me, this is just me. I am generally the one that people go to when they need to talk things out, and I can help them talk that out. But somewhere on the inside of me, I'm still working out of believing that I don't deserve that for myself. Excuse me. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And one of the things that the Bible tells us is that you can't love your neighbor if you don't love yourself. Like, that's my translation of it, or my understanding of it. Love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor if you are not willing to show love to yourself. And that is in different ways. So if I'm kind to my neighbor, I have to be kind to myself. Otherwise, I'm a hypocrite. If I am patient with my neighbor and I'm not patient with myself, I'm a hypocrite. And so because I have that understanding, I know that God is working in me, and it's a work. I know He's working in me to not be like that, to actually live out what I share with people. And for me, like, this is a big step to share that I still deal with self-pleasuring. Like, I'm overcoming it, but I can say now that I'm a month removed. And that's crazy. Like, that's crazy for me to think about. But I want to be married. I desire marriage. I've always desired marriage. And I understand that self-pleasuring is taking away from the intimacy that strengthens marriages. It's taking away from that intimacy where we get to the place of knowing. Like, that's what the word sex in the Bible, it doesn't say sex, it says Adam knew his wife. Okay, there's a deeper level involved in self-pleasuring. It removes some of it. It doesn't allow for the connection to be as deep as it could be. And I haven't like, God, He took me down a whole thing like 6 years ago now, where I was learning how sex is an act of worship. And then I've heard testimony after testimony about people who are having sex outside of marriage, and how the Lord opened their eyes and they were able to see in the spirit realm, and they could see the demon on the person that they were, having sex with. So I understand, like, it's a lot more that we don't understand about that. And, every day I'm looking forward to getting deeper knowledge about that. But this is just my story. So this is what I'm talking about today. I thought I wrote down something. This is what I want to leave. Oh, man. Job 31:1. And I read this in so many different translations, and it still hit the same way. Job said in chapter 31, verse 1, I made a covenant with my eyes. The thing about self-pleasuring, and it doesn't have to be in that way. It could be other forms of self-pleasuring. It could be overeating. It could be being lazy. It could be being on a video game too long. It could be a lot of stuff. It's self-pleasuring to an extent, not to the degree that I just talked about, but I hope you get the point. Job said, I made a covenant with my eyes. The full scripture, he said, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look with lust at a young woman. Another translation says, I made a covenant with my eyes. Why would I do this, that, and the other? Okay. So the thing about self-pleasuring in the sense of masturbation is I understand that I made a covenant with my eyes. And now I have to guard my eyes. Like, I have to watch what I'm watching, because I can easily get, not triggered, but I can easily let something in if I'm not being watchful of that. The same is true for anything else, though. Like, you can make a covenant with your eyes. You can want something outside of the timing with God. You can want something outside of God's desire for you at the time. You can want something that God does not want for you at that moment. And because you pursue that beyond His desire or will, you literally made a covenant with your eyes. I'm still growing. As much as I've been in the faith for a while now, at this point in my life, I am very much okay with asking questions that are hard. Because that's one thing that I tell my son: I would rather have questions that I can't answer than answers that I can't question. And what I love about God is that even though this book is a book full of answers, He allows us to question them. Like, he's not bothered by my questions. And that's the thing. The truth is not bothered by questions. So if I could leave anything with you, I would leave this. It might not be masturbation, but it could be something that you've allowed to be birthed in your imagination, where you're consumed in your thoughts by it. And it started somewhere. It might have started with a thought. It might have started with something that was seen with your eyes, but it started somewhere. It had to. But the thing about God is that when we bring those things to Him, He doesn't shame us. He doesn't talk bad about us. God is so good, and He is so kind. And when I messed up and I went right to Him, it's a love that I can't explain. And to know that He made a decision to forget about it. And all He's asking is for me to seek Him daily, to receive from Him daily. That's all I can do, because for me, that's the worst feeling in the world. To know that I hurt God in that way. Because I'm thinking about my husband. Like, when I get married, I don't want to hurt my husband. I don't. Because we're going to be in covenant with God at that point. So I don't want to do anything that's going to cause a rift. Okay, the point: God loves you. And it doesn't matter what you've done. As long as you make a decision to turn away from whatever it was and turn to Him, He is willing to help you navigate around that. He's willing to help you be healed from that, and to heal you from it. Not help you, He's willing to heal you from that. And some healings take time. I know, because I'm a stretch therapist, massage therapist, personal trainer, health and wellness person. Like, I understand some healings take time. Some of it, just like that. But either way, however, whichever way it comes, God is willing to walk you through it. So I probably went a little bit longer than I wanted to, because I'm getting used to sharing parts of me. But I hope this helps you. I hope you understand. I hope I didn't ramble. I have to go back and look at this. But I'm just going to post it because I'm a recovering perfectionist. So it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. And you are already a finished work, and God is perfecting what He started in you. So I love you. I pray that you grow more in love with yourself, that you understand God in a deeper way. All right, until next time, Crystal out.